When I looked through the window, I saw Bob had painted me a happy little holiday tree. He said, hey Ron, come on, pick up your brush and you will see 2 fluffy clouds and a happy little holiday tree. Yeah! I could see through the window a wondrous winter scene. 3 little dews, 2 fluffy clouds, and a happy little holiday tree. I said, hey Bob, my job's I get to watch you do your thing. 4 sticks and twigs, 3 little dews, 2 fluffy clouds, and a happy little holiday tree. Yeah!
Coming to you live from our home in the valley, at the base of the misty foothills, it's the Joy of Bob Ross, a happy little podcast. The podcast that treks down every wilderness trail to pursue Bob Ross-related stories of joy. And tonight we're sharing that joy with you. And with certified Ross instructor Lauren Pantos, children's book illustrator Anthony Wheeler, plus the Yuletide jams of Falky Falcor and the Holiday House Band, and your happy little host, Rod Scalzo.
Yes, friends and squirrels. Are we officially in joy season? Joy to the world and stuff. Welcome back. So glad you could join us today. It's the Joy of Bob Ross, a happy little podcast. We're closing out the season with our monthly pop-up rewatch party. Who knows when we'll show up? But when we do, we hop in the public television time machine to share admiration for a classic Joy of Painting episode with you. And we're joined in little boxes by some colorful characters in the Bob Ross universe. The original film has been unpacked, the elves are polishing it with joy, and our guests are standing by in the SAP green room, or sitting by more likely. But before we invite them in, let's get you caught up on Bob Ross in the News. Our latest episode, Good Game, my friends. Shout out to our Twitch peeps. Brought us to New York City and inside a fancy party to celebrate the new Fortnite creative game, Bob Ross Tycoon. Certified Ross instructor Wes Day was on hand to teach us how to paint like Bob. Plus, we got to hug some old pals. And best of all, our party goers got to enjoy Bob-themed cuisine and admire his original paintings lining the walls of Chef's dinner table in Lower Manhattan. And breaking news from the fabulous world of generosity, the first 3 of 30 original Bob Ross paintings were just auctioned off to the tune of about, get this, $600,000. And rumor has it that the auction house Bonhams out in California was a buzzin' when these babies went up for bid. The best part, of course, is that the net funds from the auctions will directly benefit public television stations facing critical funding challenges. And when are those other 27 going up for bid? Put down your caviar and write this down. Oh, wait, my producer says we can't reveal that yet. Soon is as best as you're going to get. So soon we will be doing more. Well, we won't be doing them, but the Bob Ross Company will be putting more of the Bob Ross paintings up for auction to raise money for public television stations. And there's a good chance you might be watching this in the future, so who knows. If you're here in real time, you can go to bonhams.com to stay up to date. And of course, the upcoming auctions are on our podcast slate of Ross-related reporting for 2026. And until that time, we invite you to enjoy all 69 happy little episodes of The Joy of Bob Ross, wherever you get your podcasts, and on the Bob Ross channel on YouTube and Twitch. It truly wouldn't be The Joy of Painting unless we shared it with others. So let's welcome our guests. Our first is an old friend of the podcast. She's what we call in showbiz a recurring character. We've watched her teach little kids about Bob Ross from inside her classroom in a Brooklyn elementary school. Then she taught my childhood friends and I how to paint Bob's Northern Lights for episode 50 of the podcast. Elementary school kids and my friends, pretty much the same thing. She's a Jersey girl who's been teaching Bob's wet-on-wet technique to folks of all ages, and she's been doing it for a hot minute now. Let's welcome back Lauren Pantos. Hello, Lauren.
Hey, Ron.
It's
Good to see you. Good to
same
be here.
here. And it
Yeah.
just occurred to me that like you're kind of bookending our season here. We started off this season with that episode 50. Coming to you, you opened your doors for us. We came to your
Right.
place and we painted Northern Lights together. A couple of my friends seemed a little confused, but most of them,
I'm used to
most of
it.
most of them I feel like were kind of blown away by the experience as the podcast host. That's not uncommon. We've told your story in short bursts over the course of the iteration of this podcast, but for those who are just getting to know you in this rewatch tonight, why don't you share a little bit of your history as a certified Bob Ross instructor and how it all got started?
I always loved Bob Ross. I watched it when I was a kid. Um, just loved it always. And so I wanted to start in my classroom a Bob Ross quote of the week because he's so inspirational. He says the best things. And one day I just kind of sat down. I wanted to make a bank of his little one-liners. And so I was just doing some Googling and I happened to see Become Bob Ross Certified. And honest to God, I thought it was a joke. I was like, this is a scam. This is somebody trying to get my money. So I called them and, they picked up the phone and I said like, hey, so is this real? And they were like, yeah, no, it's real. Like you can actually become Bob Ross certified. They explained the whole thing. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm down, I'm in. And so I went to Florida, the studio. It's actually Bob's studio in New Smyrna Beach. And I was there for 3 weeks. It was one of the coolest experiences of my life. We were like hardcore painting 3 weeks straight. And when I came out, I was certified and ready to go, ready to teach. So
We already dropped Wes Day's name. He's a friend of the podcast. He was on our last episode. We met him as a blue man, and he's also moved on from that chapter of his life to become a full-time CRI. And you just recently painted with him together, like
yeah.
co-taught a class at Lackawanna Station in New Jersey. How did that go for you?
Yes. So West Day is awesome. We're definitely starting some sort of partnership in the Bob Ross CRI world. He's been super fun to work with. Whenever you do a first class in a location, you kind of like fingers crossed, hope people are going to come. And we had a great turnout. It was enough people that felt like a good size, but still we were able to get like that intimate feeling that we're all in a class together. We can give you one-on-one attention and really get to know everybody we were working with. And so honestly, everybody like at the end, everybody felt great about their paintings. I love that. I love seeing people come in maybe a little nervous and leave just like so excited with what they've created.
You sent me a short reel of that experience that we played for our guests here in the rewatch. And my favorite and most cutest moment of that short video was when you pulled the tape off at the end. I've seen you do it IRL and I saw it on the video, and you seem to take such satisfaction, as a lot of CRIs do, in that moment.
It's so good. It's so satisfying. It's the best thing ever because the edges look like a mess. And then you pull off the tape, you get like all in one go. And just the feeling of peeling it off is satisfying. But then you look at it and you've got these nice, crispy, clean edges. It's just, it's so good.
Our next guest has branched out beyond landscapes. He's an illustrator in the world of children's books, among other worlds, and that's one of my favorite worlds. And you might know him drawing for folks and for fun regularly on Twitch. Please welcome from Denver, Colorado, Anthony Wheeler. Hello, Anthony.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thanks.
Like
I love
we
your
haven't been talking in the green room for the last 2 hours while we eat
Snap
cheese
green
wheels
room.
and things like that.
Yeah, you anticipated some sort of some appetizer platter.
Yeah, like a charcuterie or maybe like some cantaloupe or muskmelon is what I was hopeful for, but nope.
muskmelon. Anthony, you like Bob, like Lauren, like a ton of our Bob Ross certified instructors that we've talked to on this podcast.
Mhm.
You've made and I could include myself in this. You've made even though it's not painting, you've made a familiar pivot in life. You gave up a job in, we'll call the real world, to
Yep.
become a full-time artist. Now we're getting to know each other, for the first time tonight. Tell us that story. How did you become a full-time illustrator?
Yeah. So, like, when I was a kid, I was just completely enamored with comics, with cartoons, animation, Calvin and Hobbes. Like, I was just
Oh,
the classic nerdy, lonely child. And as I got older, I really wanted to go into comic books full time and be a full time illustrator, but I never felt like my work was ever going to match what I was looking at, in comics and things like that. So I ended up getting a business degree, and very quickly out of business school, I went into HR, human resources, executive recruiting, and I spent a huge portion of my career doing that. Um, I was always doodling and drawing and taking on small little commissions and projects and things like that while I was in my mid 20s and my to my mid 30s. But I was just super unfulfilled. I had a great job, made plenty of money, was able to support my family, but I don't know, it just wasn't adding up for me. So we ended up having our third child, and I decided, sort of all in like a week span, have a baby, uh, buy a new house, and then quit high level executive recruiting position because I felt like it was just a really great idea. And then I left it all behind and traveled the rail. And no, but I just knew I needed to do something different. And creativity was really where I wanted to spend my time. And that was 9 years ago, and I've not really looked back. And also, I've probably said so many stupid things on the internet. I'm probably not hireable anymore. So I'm just sort of here.
we want to shout out our friend Lady Galaga, who has brought a lot of people from the Twitch community,
Yeah.
specifically the artistic Twitch community, to this podcast, to these rewatches. And I get to find out for the first time, unlike in our narrative episodes, where did Bob Ross show up in your life, and tell us about your admiration for him.
Yeah. So when I was a little kid, this is a very simple answer, and it actually helps sort of guide me when I quit my day job. So when I was a little kid, my mom was a ginormous Bob Ross fan, and it's funny because we didn't even talk about this when I decided to come on to this episode tonight. So when I was 4 or 5 years old, my mom had been taking lessons, oil painting lessons, for, at that point, a handful of years, and she always claimed that she wasn't an artist, but littered throughout my entire house were all of her oil paintings that she had done based on Bob Ross paintings. And so I can't remember at the time if she had taken classes sort of in person, or if those were courses that you would sign up for in the magazine. I don't remember how it all worked. I just know that when I was a little kid, we would, before I went to elementary school, we would watch the program together. My mom would constantly be painting, and just really had art and artwork sort of in my house and in my life and things like that.
We chose a Joy of Painting episode that fits the mood of where we are in real time, but also has a little something special to add. This series 30 episode features some carefully placed masking tape, plus Bob at his cozy wintertime best. Lauren, Pantos, tell us what you, me, Anthony, and the rest of us are going to be excited to see when we look through the window.
Ah, it's so good. So it has the masking tape. It's got the big reveal, the peel and reveal at the end, and in such a beautiful way, because the peel and reveal shows you just this gorgeous window looking out into a beautiful snowy scene.
All right, our technical producer, James Bad Santa Shapiro, he's hiding in the chimney, ready to hit play and pause on the VCR if and when we ask him to. So here we go. It's showtime, or in this case, snow time. The Joy of Painting, Series 30, Episode 7. It's the Bob Ross rewatch party with you, me, Lauren, Anthony. Let's roll it. Man, I know Bob works fast, but 17 seconds to paint through the window, that's got to be a record.
Yeah, with 2 brooms.
Is that a filbert brush?
Fan brush.
It's a
Come on.
fan brush, not a filbert.
And who's Bob waving to? Is that Bob? I think my head just exploded.
Hi, welcome
Wait
back.
till the
Certainly
feeling
glad
reveal.
you could join us today. Today I thought we'd do the little painting that you see at the beginning of the show, the one that's got the little character that walks in the snow. I'll show you how that one was done. But first let's start out and run all the colors across the screen that you need to paint along with us. While they're doing that, let me show you what I got done up here. I started with a regular old 18 by 24 inch canvas, but you use whatever size is convenient.
The Blunder Factory says, Wheeler not grooving to the theme is heartbreaking.
I didn't know anyone could see me. I saw you guys grooving, but I thought if I started to groove, then it would be weird because I had not been grooving. I didn't get the message about the groove.
Maybe you should groove now.
Now let's not skip over the Lauren Pantos elephant in the room. Can we pause this for a second? Now, what makes this episode special, right? This is something I've never seen before. And Bob's on the clock, right? He's got 30 minutes to do this and he can't stop down. So that's why we have our CRI here. The contact paper conundrum, Lauren. Bob's like, yeah, I cut out a perfect window shape with my scissors while I was feeding Peapod, NBD. But, how easy / difficult is it to get, not just to prime the canvas, but to get it ready to do what Bob's about to do for us?
So Bob will tell you that everything is easy. And really, yes and no. So to cut out contact paper is not hard, no. But to get it precise, to get it so that it's even and it looks good, is tricky. You have to, there's measuring, and we've already discussed we're not math people. There's measuring, there's thinking about proportions. And then to top it off, he's not just making a frame, he wants it to actually look like something at the end. So he's had to think about all of this first, which takes time. He puts it up on the canvas. He's got to make sure that it's smooth so that nothing's going to sneak under it. And then he does the masking tape. It's perfect. Okay. And so then what he does, that happens first, the contact paper and the masking tape. And then he needs to prime the canvas with liquid white. So that's a thin, liquidy white oil paint that he puts all over everything. So that when he starts now with a color, it starts blending into the white underneath, and that's how you get these really smooth, blended gradients.
Is that liquid white? I don't know anything about oil painting. Is that liquid white? Is it still wet, or has it been fully dried?
Oh no! So oil paint stays wet for days.
Yeah.
So it stays open. That's the term, and that's why he can mix in and blend right on the canvas, which is something you can't really do with other mediums, not like this.
I want to point out that Bob's classic chambray shirt is unbuttoned about halfway down, and to me, that's a sure sign that he's footloose and fancy free at this point in his career. Ryan Sockentist in the chat says those 80s ladies were all about him, and I think that's the reason why, Rocket or Riot.
Do you have your shirt unbuttoned just a little bit as well? Just
I do.
No. I want to talk about you, Lauren. No. That's inappropriate.
Oh, I don't care.
Hey, we ratings. Solidarity here. You know what I'm saying, Anthony?
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I think we all should.
I should have worn a button-up shirt today and not my classic black T-shirt.
Should agree.
Lauren, what's your favorite flavor of oil paint?
Oh, so okay. I'm prepared. I know this answer. Phthalo green, favorite, and it's so rare that you get to use it. It's such it's one of the more transparent colors, so it's not super opaque. You get to mix it into things sometimes, but it's rare that you get to really just use it straight up, and it's such a beautiful emerald color. Do you dabble in oil painting at all, Anthony?
No, so I really just I watched my mom when I was a kid, and then I have quite a few friends who do oil painting, but there's a really awesome dude here on Twitch called I'm Painting Badly, and he's an incredibly fun dude to hang out with on the platform. I find it to honestly to be a really intimidating medium. When I was
Well,
a
you have to take a class.
yeah. And that's something I've learned as I get older is like I need to start, facing some of these ridiculous self-imposed fears that I created. So this last year, one of my fears, irrational ones, was like working in acrylic, working with gouache. So I'm starting to get my because I'm a pen and ink and watercolor and in alcohol marker illustrator. So I'm really trying to dabble much further into the opaque mediums because I see a lot of value to it. But as a kid, when I was looking at Calvin and Hobbes and Garfield and Family Circus and stuff like that, it was all about the line work for me. So to work without line work, without like a black line work or something, was
Yeah.
always highly intimidating.
So I actually found that to be really freeing, actually. So most of what he's doing, like and when I'm watching him right now, I love watching him just kind of like grow those trees from the top to the bottom, right?
Hmm.
But he's using a lot of atmospheric perspective in just a beautiful way. So he's starting right now with like the light trees in the distance that are going to appear to be lighter than the trees that are in the foreground. And I think that I find like hard outlines and things to be constricting, and I have a hard time creating atmospheric perspective or perspective
Sure.
with that. So um, oil painting and being able to work in shape rather than line was always kind of my thing.
Hmm. So do you see that? Do you see shape more than anything? And like,
Yeah,
at what point in your process do you see line, or does it not really come up?
it doesn't. So I think that a younger me was really trying to do line, really trying to get line and figure out
Yeah.
line. And it was sort of one of my self-imposed things, right? And when
Hmm.
I finally let that go and started thinking more in shape, is when I kind of got more of that free flowing. It was like I don't have to make it precise. I can just kind of throw something down and then gently form it into the shape I want it to be.
Yeah.
Um, and then that becomes like a jump off point to then if I want to use line on top, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But see, here we are with the atmospheric perspective. So this darker tree in front automatically looks like it's closer to you because there's not as much air between
Hmm.
you and that tree as there is the others.
Yep. All the particles in the air, the fog, just little stuff, dust.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about watching Bob Ross is that he's like, it's that easy. I'm just going to take a little bit of this color. And he never really discusses what it is he's doing. Like, I don't think I've ever heard the man say atmospheric perspective. Like, I don't know, maybe he has, but he's always just, it's so easy. It's so easy. But he's doing so many things that he barely even mentions. And he's thinking about all this as he goes.
All we're looking for here, just a very basic little shape.
But then also
Leftward,
Pretty wild.
manages to like make jokes about Peapod and
Leave some of that background in there. It helps create the illusion of depth and distance.
leftward hoe in the chat. This is my process as well. I need something to work with instead of a blank canvas. And our friend
yeah, I
Rocky,
hear
I
that.
can't pronounce this screen name. It's Riot Sockentist.
It's
With a
Riot
tongue,
Sockentist.
it's a
That's
tongue
Colin.
twister.
I'm not even
I,
gonna try to pronounce it. I will screw it up so badly and
yeah,
then disrespect
he
Riot
did it on
so
purpose.
deeply.
To,
Yeah.
to, to, I love when Bob slams a tree on top of what he's making and the perspective just locks in. Yeah, we're seeing it
Mm.
right now.
Add the
Yeah,
loose
it's
little
it's
touch.
funny to see it from this viewpoint. So as a cartoonist and an illustrator, a lot of times what I'll do with the line stuff is I'll start more in my middle ground or even in my foreground, and then I will add that atmospheric
Right.
perspective much later on in my illustrations or my paintings because I've really locked in the focal point and I've locked in the direction that I want the camera to look and things like that. And then I'm going to fill in the background at the almost at the very end as that kind of extra added spice. I'm always think about it like where it should go as I'm developing it. But yeah, I definitely start the other direction and then work backwards basically.
That I think that makes sense. And interesting just how different it is, right? Because
Yeah,
here we
it's
are
so
building
different.
from, yeah, it's a completely different process and way of thinking about things.
There's a guy I hang out with here on Twitch named Joe Stiller. J Stiller 30 is his screen name, and Joe is he's a fantasy illustrator who really specializes in landscapes. So last year he took on a really dubious task of trying to teach me how to paint digital landscapes just like this, and it was really interesting for me because I had to start in that far back part of my process and build and build and build, getting closer to the camera. And it was such a great lesson. And he's a master when it comes to it. Um, but
So,
it's a different set of muscles, you know.
yeah, you saying that makes me think of a girl who's taken several of my classes now, who I've chatted with a bit. She actually did a digital painting of every single Bob Ross episode.
Ooh,
And
that's
they're
cool.
incredible, and so she has all like time lapses of her doing them as well, and they're gorgeous, they're beautiful.
Oh,
So
that's
she started,
rad.
yeah, and she started taking some of my classes so to do it like for real.
I wouldn't think initially to use that more baby bird blue as the reflective light, even though the background of it is much, it has much more atmospheric blue and white to it. I just wouldn't have even thought to put that blue in as my uh, as where that light is hitting. It's
Um,
really interesting.
so this is also with Bob, like he knows exactly what types of trees these are. Like I feel like all of his landscapes are coming from things he's actually seen. Like I truly believe that.
For sure.
Um, and so these are a type of tree that are, it's an evergreen. I don't know the exact name of them. He does, and he
It's a
mentions them.
Douglas fir.
Yeah, but like they
No,
look
I'm
kind
kidding.
of
Never mind.
blue. Yeah, I'm like, whatever. They look kind of, they read kind of blue, like in the dead of winter, like that.
Oh, like a blue spruce, perhaps?
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
know.
Is that a real one? Are you making this up?
Yeah. No, that
You'll
is real.
never find out.
Oh,
That's
look at
my
him
favorite
putting a
part about
tree
this.
right on top.
That's my favorite part is you'll never know if I'm making
I
this up or not.
You say it with such conviction. Muscle memory is a huge part of it, and just being able, allowing yourself to make mistakes is like one of the best ways to learn. So practice is a huge piece of this.
I wanted to ask you this earlier in the show. So, as an oil painter, let's say you make a mark or a shape that just ultimately isn't right.
Mhm.
How do you go about fixing, erasing, tweaking? Are you trying to scrape the paint off the canvas, or are you painting over
It
top? Like,
depends.
what's generally what would you do?
It depends. It depends on how much paint is there. If it's like thick paint, then you'd have to scrape it off. A lot of the times you can just blend it away, right?
Yeah.
Um, a lot of times, like you just put a tree right on top of it, right? uh, One of my favorite quotes of his is that trees cover a multitude of sins. And so, you have a few options here. Oh, look at that, the little snow on the, oh, I can't wait for the
Go right over the
peel
tree
and
branches
reveal.
because this would be in front.
It's
But
really
yeah,
it's
you
really
have
fun for
options.
me to meet somebody else who's a bigger nerd than I am. This is outstanding. I love it.
Oh,
That's what
I'm
these are
enjoying
all
it as
about.
well.
Yeah.
One right
I
here.
do. I do love a good nerd,
Put a little bit right in
So
there.
you're
especially an
saying,
art nerd.
so
Oh,
Lauren, you're
yeah.
saying the payoff here is when he pulls off the contact paper, these little doers that he's white doers that are making here there's gonna be a payoff. Because right now
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I trust Bob enough. I've seen enough of Bob at this point to know he's not gonna let me down. But I'm always that little cynical part of me when I see him do something that's like, what are you doing there, Bob?
I know.
I
It's
need
like
reassurance still.
when he has the beautiful, like before he had these beautiful trees, and then you just see him putting black lines on top of it. You're like, what? And then you give him like 15 seconds, and it's beautiful. So yes, he knows what he's doing.
And is that a fence that he painted down here? Right.
Yeah, a little
Happy
fallen
little
over.
happy little fence for the painter man to trip over.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
something's
Bob
happened
always
to that
adds,
poor
yeah,
little
like a little
pet.
piece of humanity, right, to all these wilderness scenes. Like wants to remind you that somebody's been here before.
Cut off a little roll of paint. Let's go right up in here.
Oh,
And
paint.
let's highlight this so it stands out a little bit more. Oh yeah, that's much better.
Yeah, I would be really
Some arrest
intimidated
in
with the
there.
palette knife,
Oh, I love it.
trying to carve stuff in.
It's, again, practice.
hmm
It's really easy to, I do think it's a tool to be easily intimidated by. But once you kind of figure out how, the wonderful ways that you can use it, there's certain things I used to shy away from the knife, but now there's certain things that I'm like, I use the knife for everything. It's just
Yeah.
such a great way to move massive amounts of paint around.
What's your favorite season to paint? Do you have one?
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, thank you.
I don't know. I think I tend to like the more colorful. I like when you have I like the really greens, all the greens. So I would have to say probably like a summer or spring.
Is that because you want to use your Phthalo green that you talked
Yes.
about at the top of the
Yes.
show?
Yes.
Pathetic.
Actually, once I was watching a Bob Ross episode on YouTube and I had the subtitles on, and they just kind of guess what, it's not actually written out. And he said he was going to add some phthalo blue and phthalo green, but the subtitles said they're like a little stalo blue, potato green. So now every time I hear that, I'm like, oh, potato green, yeah.
That's how my dyslexic brain would operate anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend Future Russia in the chat is reminding me that we are in the cabin. So that is our fence that we're looking out on. Good point. Good point.
Oh,
So does that mean we're derelict landowners then?
Yes,
who aren't
we have to
taking
get
I
that
care
do
of
fence
believe
our-
fixed.
so.
Up here.
Yep.
Oh, here we go.
Pull this out.
Here you go, Lauren.
Isn't that fantastic?
It's so
It
good.
does
Did
look
you
like
hear
It all
it?
came off at once. Amazing.
Look at it.
But as I say,
But did you hear it?
I heard it.
So you peel it, it sounds awesome, and it feels really good because there's it's fighting you a little bit, and then you win. So good.
and no one appreciates a gift more.
That was
than
the
one
only
that you
time I
produce.
knew to be quiet.
Happy
Look at
painting.
that, and now you're looking out the
God bless,
window.
my friend.
Bob. So
Here's your
good.
chance, Anthony. I'll do it for you. Hey. Happy streaming, happy holidays, and good game, my friends.